Morning, Wall Street winners. It is October 23rd, Wednesday, and we have had a bunch of earnings come in this morning. If we take a look at the Bloomberg app first and look at the futures market, you'll see that, again, third day this week, all three indices are in the red going into the open, and we're about an hour and 20 minutes out from the open. You'll see at the top of the screen, crude was up yesterday, it's down today, so this is the yo-yo that crude is on. No particular reason for this move based upon news events that have transpired over the last 24 hours. But you can see that it's off today. So likely a down day for crude and oil producing stocks. The VIX is down under 20, actually under 19. So that's a positive. It's on its way. It was on its way down. It's now up this morning. And then we've got earnings. So let's talk about some of the different companies, some of which we don't follow. So first of all, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is off 1.6% right now. And that could be a sign that consumers are shifting where they're spending money and able to allocate discretionary income, because although interest rates have been cut in multiple countries, specifically the US with the last 50-point Fed cut, 50 basis point Fed cut, we're still seeing that it takes some time for that to actually have a trickle effect into the market. And that delay could be showing up in consumer conglomerate stocks like Coca-Cola, where consumers just don't have those funds to put towards that. Now, on another consumer consumable, it's AT&T, and AT&T is up 3.3%. Now, this stock is a total dog. If you look at it over the last 5 years, you've lost 25%. The only saving grace here is the dividend that it pays of 5.12%. So with the dividend, you've effectively over 5 years broken even, but you've lost money in your capital. So cash flow wise, you've broken even, but you've lost money in capital. So definitely not a stock that we're that interested in. Other companies reporting today, we've got IBM, we've got Tesla reporting today. Those are two big ones. And we'll touch upon a couple of others that made announcements this week that could have impacts on other companies that provide services and goods to them. So you can see yesterday, Costco had a good day, but it looks like it's going to be off again today. So I'm still waiting for Costco to move back into the 880s. And when it does, which it may today on open, I think in the low to mid 880s, it's a pretty strong buy if it's for a buy and hold type position. Maybe it could be a flip trade as well, or a day trade, but definitely maybe a swing trade in the lower 880s. I'm keeping my eye on Lululemon. It's getting back up to the $300 level. And if we take a look at this year to date, it's definitely fallen a significant amount, down as low as the 230s. So it's now creeping back up to 300. We may be in store for some positive news now that we've had a couple of bad quarters with Lululemon based on the holiday market. But that is all going to be dependent on the amount of discretionary spending dollars the consumer has. And when you see companies like Coca-Cola miss their earnings, it makes me a little nervous about Lululemon, which would be a higher end retailer for that consumer discretionary dollar. Now, on the positive to that, those higher end retailers typically deal with higher end consumers, and the higher end consumers haven't been as affected as lower income consumers. So there may still be some positives coming out of this for Lululemon. All of the dollar stores, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, all the different dollar stores have been hit hard this year as well. So staying away from those right now. The one retailer that has done phenomenal this year, well, one of a couple, but one in particular is Walmart. It had a big jump yesterday. I'm waiting for this one, though, to come back into the mid 70s, and then I'd look at that again. I think it's a little rich right now. A Canadian retailer looking to expand internationally with the purchase of 7-Eleven stores from its Japanese owner, if that ends up materializing, is ATD. And I do like this one. If you look at the year to date on this, this is near its year low. And I don't think it's going to get much lower than $74 a share. So I think now is a pretty good opportunity to get into ATD if you're looking to hold something in the retail sector sector for say 3 to 6 months, maybe 6 to 12 months, I think you could see a pretty decent return. And within 12 months, I would expect that this would get up to at least $93. So that would be a pretty decent return on that stock. Healthcare not doing very much, a mix of red and green, and Nike still kind of hovering in the low 80s. Home Depot as well came down as low as the low 400s, almost touched 400 yesterday, or actually got under 400 yesterday, if I correct myself there, for a little while. And then today it looks like it's making a bit of a rebound. Transports. So we heard from CNR last night, and they came out with positive results. I do expect that this stock is going to jump $2 or $3, maybe $4 at the open this morning. Nothing's reflected in the pre-market on the Canadian exchanges here, but I think this is going to be quite positive. Then we get into oil, and oil, crude we saw a minute ago is down for the day. So a roller coaster ride here. That's going to pull most of the oil stocks down at the open, and that may correct if crude changes direction. And it looks like it's hit bottom and maybe it's starting to move upwards. This is going to be a wait and see game. So if crude makes a quick turn and comes back up to positive or near where it closed and or into the green, there may be an opportunity to trade into, to buy into some of these oil stocks. We've got Valero tomorrow coming out with earnings. So this could be an interesting one to get into at 135 and hold through earnings. Although we have seen some earnings misses on the crude side because earnings have not been as great as they were a few years ago, just due to a number of factors, but the primary one being the price of crude coming down substantially from the $100 a barrel mark. If we turn to tech, lots going on in tech. NVDL is off today. It was off yesterday. NVIDIA was down a little bit yesterday from its high. You've got Palantir, which was up yesterday, down a little bit today. And as we scroll through, the one that caught my attention as I was looking at this earlier is onsemi. So onsemi was off yesterday, but it's up almost $3 in the pre-market this morning. And one of the announcements we had yesterday was from GM. And GM announced better than expected results in terms of earnings and revenue. We're going to hear from Tesla after market close today. But remember, Tesla is a pretty small market share holder overall amongst all of the car companies. So even if Tesla is off slightly, the other companies, Ford, GM, etc., could come in with some better than expected earnings. And that could actually lift onsemi, because onsemi makes a lot of the electronics and different components, electrical components for these car manufacturers. So going to be keeping an eye on this one. I'm a believer in onsemi. I mean, that stock was up in the 110 range earlier this year, and I think it has the ability to get back there. ARM Holdings. ARM and Qualcomm have been in this dispute over using a Qualcomm chip design, having ARM use a Qualcomm chip design. And I think that it's basically ended in divorce at this point. They've decided to go in different directions, and that seems to be having a negative impact on ARM. It's off almost $5. If we continue scrolling down, IBM reports today, so we're going to hear after market on IBM. And I think that even if it has good results, it's had such a big run up into results that I think it might actually come off the high or come down a little bit. I don't expect a huge bump. Tomorrow we have, today at the end of the day, we have Lam Research. So I expect some good numbers and some positive information and a big jump, maybe up to the $80, $82 range in Lam Research if they blow it out of the water with their revenue and earnings and a very important future forecast. We have heard great things from NVIDIA, from TSMC, ASML, not so much. Texas Instruments reported yesterday positive earnings out of Texas Instruments. That's a bit of a sleeper stock. If you're looking for something that seems to just continue to climb over time, Texas Instruments is worth a look, and I might actually add it to our list of tech stocks to keep in mind. Tesla's reporting today. I'm expecting we might see a bit of a hit on Tesla and a further drop with earnings today, but you never know with Tesla. The production numbers I don't think are there, and I'm not sure where the sales numbers are right now, but I'm skeptical on Tesla. There's been a lot of talk about futures with robotaxi and these types of things, but not a lot of actual action. So let's see if Elon can put his money where his mouth is on that one. I think he's been too busy with the election and pumping the Trump and Republican side of things, and that's a bit of an interesting story in itself. I mean, when the richest man in the world gets behind Donald Trump so that he can save billions in taxes and control government regulation, bit of a red flag in my opinion. Google is the sleeper in the tech trade here, in my opinion. I think Google, which I bought into and sold yesterday, and I'm going to buy back into today in the 160 range or 166, 167 range, going into earnings in just 6 days, I think you're going to see a lot of a lot of stock appreciation. So I think this price will creep up nicely into earnings. And then if earnings are good, it'll pop again. So I think Google is a very strong buy right now. And that's a position I'm going to get back into today. The other one I'm liking is TSM. As I see it down 350 yesterday and almost $2 today, that's going to get me down into the mid 190s. And I think TSM is a super strong buy, especially with its amazing earnings report just within the last couple of weeks for Q2, not Q3, which we've started to roll into now. So I think they've got a lot of forward momentum. SoFi continues to move up higher in the financial sector, and then the others are just kind of fluttering right now. So with the exception of the regionals, which have come out with some very positive numbers, Bank of California came out and was up 62 cents. That's a huge jump for a $15 stock. The big boys, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman, all kind of fluttering around maybe where they were or close to where they were on their fabulous earnings announcements, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they have a lot more room to go. M&T, great earnings announcement. Again, I think it's kind of peaked and it's going to come back and settle. Schwab did peak up around 73, 74 and has come down to the 70s. The one we haven't heard from yet is Raymond James, and they have earnings today. So I do expect that we're going to get some good numbers out of Raymond James, but I think there's been a significant run up in that stock into earnings, and I don't know if there's that much room for a pop in that one. Zion Bancorp as well had great earnings. They were up $3 yesterday. So lots of positives on the earnings front, but still lots of folks to report in the next day or two. So let's keep an eye on those. Good luck with your trades. And if you're liking these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know what you'd like me to cover, and I'd be happy to talk about that.